In the mid-90s, of course, you won the Premier League title with Blackburn. What advice do you have for Liverpool, their squad, their manager, and anybody who's involved in the running of the club in order to retain the title? What didn't go right for Blackburn in the sense they couldn't challenge after that, whereas the likes of Manchester United have won back-to-back titles before, etc.?
My advice at this moment in time to Liverpool and the players and the staff is enjoy this moment. These moments don't come around very often. Let's not worry about next season just yet, Adam, asking the hard questions. But I take the point Emileski said earlier about, if this wants to be renowned as a great Liverpool team, then they have to go again. And it'll be interesting, won't it, in the summer, who they recruit, if they want to strengthen. Danny mentioned Manchester City didn't recruit very well. I thought that was a very good point. And, will Liverpool add in the summer? But where do they need to strengthen? I mean, they're formidable all the way through their team.
What do you think about that, Danny? Because they didn't do much business last summer in the last transfer window, but they've gone on to become title winners now.
No, but they had a couple of players coming in that they'd sort of recruited 6 months or so before that, hadn't they? Fabinho as well had been there and was settling in. So it was almost like having a new signing. It took him a little while to settle into life in England and life in Liverpool. I think they need to go out and get a centre forward, because if Firmino's not playing, there's a little bit of an issue. That front three
is difficult, that though, Danny, isn't it?
It is very hard, very, very difficult, because it's like Tottenham trying to recruit a centre forward. You know what's going to happen. You can't. You're going to go there and be second best. There's no two strikers anymore, like yourself and Shearer. So it's hard to get top quality in. But if they're going to go to the next level and compete, I think that they've got to bring somebody in so they can rest maybe Salah at times. They can rest Mane every now and then. Give Firmino a break, and it's not going to cause too many issues. The only other place that you would probably say is maybe the midfield area. Do they need a little bit more creativity in that area? But with Oxlade-Chamberlain coming back, towards the back end of this season, he's almost like a new signing itself.
Yeah, and Minamino, of course, joining not too long ago, hasn't played much for Liverpool. I'm sure big future's expected of him. But it's interesting, Chris, that you're saying they should enjoy it right now. And whilst that's true, they've probably known for a while that they're going to be champions.
Blackburn enjoyed it for 12 months. That's why they didn't win it back-to-back.
Perhaps a little bit too long. That's only because they won it on the final day of the season in dramatic circumstances. But Liverpool have had plenty of time to think about this. There's still 7 matches remaining in the league. There's no official date of when the league is actually going to restart because of the lockdown. So I'm sure Jurgen Klopp is already planning ahead, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I know what you're saying about Liverpool. They'd won it by Christmas, but for a Liverpool player, you need to get over the line. They've been carrying this burden for 30-odd years, haven't they? So, tonight would have been sweet. Of course, they'd have liked to have won it in different circumstances in front of their own fans in a full stadium. That hasn't been the case, but take nothing away. We're not going to talk about asterisks anymore. Liverpool, for me, they'd won it on the pitch anyway, had the season been called. They've been absolutely phenomenal. We talk about the Premier League being the best league in the world, the strongest league, and they've been so far out in front. Nobody has been able to live with Liverpool. And, of course, they'll be thinking about next season, can we go again? But, they should enjoy the next week or two. It'll be interesting to see the team they play against Manchester City on Thursday. Whether Jurgen Klopp will rest players now until the end of the season. He can do what he likes, can't he? He has earned the right.
Yeah, I'm just looking back at Klopp's time and picturing it in my head. And obviously the signing of Klopp has been absolutely crucial to the success of Liverpool. But also, at the time, it was a bit derided, the sale of Coutinho, which raised funds so they could bring in the likes of Van Dijk and Alisson. It helped to fund that, and it seemed to be the missing link.
But Coutinho didn't want to be there, did he?
No.
Barcelona came knocking. You can't blame him. There aren't too many players that say no to Barcelona, given that option. So he was always going to go. They did a very, very good deal. They got money in. But this is Liverpool have had and this is what I said earlier, Liverpool have had a long-term plan. And they will already have been thinking about, right, who is the next replacement? Who is coming in next? Who is the backup? All the way through the system. Liverpool are looking, I assume, at least 2 years ahead all the time, thinking, right, they will have an idea who Jurgen Klopp's replacement might be, whether it be next season, the season after, or the season after that. Their scouting network and what
they won't be thinking about replacing Klopp.
No, but if he suddenly decides to go, they will have 2 or 3 people lined up ready. I'm not talking about, if he suddenly goes, you know what, like Pep did, I've won it, I'm going. Liverpool will have in mind 2 or 3 next replacements. That's what the Fenway Group have done. They've done it with all their players right the way through it. And if you look at them, a lot of their, Mane was not a guaranteed signing to work out. Salah was not a guaranteed signing. Firmino was not. These weren't. They were good players, but you weren't bringing in superstars that you go, these are going to definitely work in the Premier League. So their recruitment policy has been absolutely superb, and their forward planning has been magnificent.
I think I had this discussion, I believe it might have been of Harry Kewell or one of the recent interviews I had via a digital platform during the lockdown period. And we established that the only name that was bought by Liverpool that you could say could fit into a world-class bracket was Alisson. Everybody kind of wanted his signature. Van Dijk wasn't the Van Dijk that we know now. Robertson had been relegated, etc., etc. I mean, Salah was considered a failure at Chelsea, for example.
Well, I don't agree with all that, I have to say, because I always thought Van Dijk, when he strolled into Celtic, and I know, you can have your view on the Scottish League, but he had everything. I mean, the fact, he went to Southampton after leaving Celtic, and he was compared to John Stones back then. Stones had gone for 50 million to Manchester City, and I was thinking, Van Dijk, an absolute snip at 12 million, and Liverpool signed him. They haven't looked back since. I take the point about Alisson. They needed to get a decent goalkeeper in, somebody who could just calm things down at the back. But Van Dijk has been a colossal. He's been the key man in all this.
Henderson's not everybody's cup of tea, is he? But he's been brilliant during this. He's really improved under Jurgen Klopp, obviously since Steven Gerrard left as well.
But the one player, Danny, I think if you took out of Liverpool, which would make them a lot weaker, is Van Dijk. They can leave Henderson out. They can replace him. They cannot replace Van Dijk.
Going back to what Danny was saying, and my follow-up comment was more that nobody really was putting Van Dijk into the class of that world-class category, that tier.
I was.
Until you were. Well, that's because you're a big Celtic fan and an ex-player of Celtic, so you're probably watching him more closely than anybody else. But generally speaking, in the general public, was that the same consensus?
Well, if you'd sort of watched him the way I'd watched him, I used to look at him when he played at Celtic and used to think, what is actually wrong with you? He's 6'4", could head the ball, lovely composure on the ball, could bring it out of defence. He was quick, he was powerful. If there was a criticism of him back then, it was he found things too easy. And when he came down to the Premier League, maybe at Southampton, he learned very quickly that he has to concentrate for 90 minutes. But he had absolutely all the attributes, and he's gone on to become an absolute world-class player. He's in the running for the Ballon d'Or, wasn't he? Was he second this year? I mean, phenomenal.
That was only after he joined Liverpool, of course. I guess that was my point. When Liverpool were buying players, with the exception of Alisson, none of them had reached that tier just yet.
Well, then you have to say that Jurgen Klopp has done a phenomenal job in improving players. The players that he's brought on. Apart from Alisson, who was fabulous already, Trent Alexander-Arnold has really come to the fore in this. Andy Robertson is a better player. Gomez is a better player. Matip, suddenly looks a much better player. Okay, he's playing alongside Van Dijk, who's got better. Henderson's got better. Oxlade-Chamberlain, the front three. All of these players, whatever Jurgen Klopp is doing, whether it's confidence, whether it's just belief, whether it's coaching, whether it's all of that, he has developed that team and he has improved those players by 10, 15, 20%, maybe more in some cases. And that's why he is so valuable to Liverpool.
I'm going to try to swing this back to our game at hand. And Raheem Sterling, obviously, it was a bit of a contentious sale when he left Liverpool to go to Manchester City. How's he going to feel applauding the team in the Guard of Honour when they visit the Etihad?
I don't think that'd be such a big deal for Raheem to do that. Other players have had to applaud Raheem and the Manchester City players in the last couple of seasons. I think that Manchester City have got some phenomenal players, but they will accept this season. It's been a disappointment in trying to defend their title, and they will accept Liverpool's consistency has been absolutely unbelievable. They know what it takes. They know from previous seasons, they've done the hard yards and seen games through. It hasn't happened this season, but I bet there's a resolve in them for next season and a hunger to rip that title back out of Liverpool's hands.
Next season is going to be a massive, an even bigger test than this year, because they've gone 2 seasons losing 2 games. Now everybody is going to be gunning for Liverpool because they're the champions. We've seen how difficult it is time and time again, to win the Premier League back to back. It's so difficult to do. Everything else that goes on, and I think next season Manchester City, this is going to hurt them. Plus, Manchester City might not be in the Champions League as well. Yeah, that could be a huge factor.
I wanted to discuss that. Sorry, go on, Chris.
I was just going to say, Adam, City are the most beautiful team in the Premier League. They are the best football team, the greatest team on the eye. But Liverpool are just a better all-round team. Out of possession, I think Liverpool are absolutely unstoppable. And we spoke earlier about Klopp's influence. The players love Klopp. They want to run through a wall for Jurgen Klopp. They have this hunger, the desire, the belief, and the togetherness. That's a big, big thing in football.